Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a topic you've probably heard buzzing around everywhere, platform engineering. We're going to break down what it is, why it's way more than just another tech buzzword, and how it is completely shaking up the day-to-day life of developers. You know, this quote, it just hits the nail on the head for how a lot of developers are feeling right now. The whole promise of the cloud and DevOps was supposed to be about making things simpler. But the reality, well, it often feels like you're lost in a maze. The very tools that were meant to help have ended up creating this whole new universe of complexity. And all this growing complexity, it brings us to this challenge that so many companies are wrestling with. Let's call it the DevOps dilemma. So DevOps was supposed to tear down these walls between teams, right? But what often happened is that it just left development teams trying to manage this dizzying number of tools. You end up with silo teams, just like you see here, and every single one is basically reinventing the wheel. This creates a massive increase in what's called cognitive load. That's all the mental energy you have to spend just dealing with the complexity before you can even write one line of new code. And the result of all that? Well, developers' time and, frankly, their brain power gets totally sidetracked. Instead of creating awesome new features for the business, they're stuck playing detective, just trying to untangle this huge operational knot of pipelines, security tools, and infrastructure. Which, leads to the billion-dollar question that so many tech leaders are asking themselves. How do we get all the good stuff from DevOps, like speed and collaboration, without completely overwhelming our developers? And that's exactly where platform engineering steps into the spotlight. Now, it is so important to get this. This is not about replacing DevOps, not at all. It's about evolving it from a big idea into a real, concrete strategy you can actually use. So at its heart, platform engineering is all about creating a streamlined, kind of paved road for developers to follow. It's a whole discipline focused on building an internal platform that makes it super easy for developers to do the right thing the easy way. And the actual thing that gets built from all this work is what we call an internal developer platform, or an IDP. The best way to think about it is like an operational hub for your developers. It's a self-service portal that gives them everything they need to ship software without all the usual friction. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. You can't build a good IDP by just throwing a bunch of tools in a pile and calling it a day. It requires a pretty fundamental shift in how you think, and that's where this idea of the product mindset comes in. Okay, this slide is really interesting because it shows the huge contrast. A platform team can't just be an order taker, just reacting to requests for new tools. No, they have to act like a product team. And who are their customers? The developers. They've got to dig in and understand the why behind a request, not just the what. So this mindset in action means you're literally treating your internal developers as your most important customers. You're out there actively getting their feedback, you're building a roadmap to solve their biggest headaches, and you're obsessed with making their lives easier. Success isn't just, hey, this service is running. Success is measured by real, tangible improvements in how software gets built and shipped. So what does all this actually look like in the real world? Well, when you combine a great IDP with that product mindset, you start to create something that's often called a golden path. A golden path is basically a super smooth, supported workflow that takes care of the most common, everyday development tasks. It hides all that crazy complexity under the hood, so instead of filing tickets and waiting around, a developer can get a production-ready environment with all the security and compliance stuff already baked right in. And this image just captures the difference perfectly, doesn't it? You move from the slow, manual, ticket-based nightmare to an automated self-service model that actually empowers developers and just massively speeds everything up. So, what is the actual real-world impact of making this shift? Let's take a look at the data and really nail down the relationship between all these ideas. This table does a fantastic job of summing it all up. Think of it like this. DevOps is the big picture culture and philosophy. It's the why. Platform engineering is a specific discipline that gives you the how. It's the tools, the product thinking, and the dedicated team that makes that whole philosophy a reality when you're trying to scale. And the impact is absolutely measurable. Organizations that really adopt this model see these huge improvements in what are called DORA metrics. They're basically the industry gold standard for measuring how well you're delivering software. By automating everything and giving teams standard tools through the platform, they can release smaller updates way more often. And as you can see, that directly boosts how often you can deploy, gets changes to production faster, and it's all more reliable. It's a massive win. So really, if you only take one thing away from all this, let it be this right here. It is not DevOps versus platform engineering. It's DevOps achieved through platform engineering. It takes those big cultural goals of DevOps and gives them a solid technical foundation to stand on. And that leaves us with one final thought for you and your team to chew on. Are you just collecting a random pile of tools? Or are you being intentional in designing a cohesive platform that really has the developer's experience at its heart? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.